So, hi guys, how are you all? I hope all of you are doing good in these tough times of COVID and Omicron viruses that are spreading right now. I hope all of you are staying home and studying well and solving questions on your own, as I always motivate you to do that. So, just first of all, you just tell me how is the quality of the broadcast, that is, if you can hear me properly and if you can see me properly or not. You can just write down in your chats and write down in the chats that if you can see me properly and if you can hear me properly from on the scale of 1 to 10, that is 1 for the worst and 10 for the best, right? So you can just write down in the chat and then we'll move forward. Okay guys, so just first of all, I just want to ask you, how is your preparation going on? That is, you can rate it on the scale of 1 to 3. That is 1 for the sad face, 2 for the mild face, and 3 for a happy face. And what does that mean? It means that if you are on the level 1, so you are not somewhat confident in your preparation. You are just saying that my preparation is not going very well and I have to work on many of the topics and I am not confident and I cannot solve questions on my own. That is the main thing, that is solving questions. If you are able to solve questions, then your preparation is totally fine, right? So you can just rate it on the scale of 1 to 3. That is 1, 2 and 3. If you are on any of these scales 1 and 2, then no need to worry. I am here and I'll take your preparation from this level to this level, right? So uh, just you can write down in the chat, guys, where are you from, and just you can write down that what is the level of your preparation, right? So I am waiting for your chats, so you can write down in the chat, and you can also write down that which topics do you face difficulties in right now, which is the main focus, which I want to know, that which topics are uh, hi Renuka, how are you? Did you do the homework which I gave you, which I told you that you should read the P blocks NCRT once? So have you read that and have you solved some questions on the basis of that? And you can just write down in the chat, and you can just also write down that if you can see me properly and hear me properly as well, right? And then I asked you about your preparation. How is your preparation going on? If your preparation is on level 1, 2 and 3, as you guys already know, right? So you can just write down in the chat. I'm waiting for your chat so that we can move forward. Today, you guys requested that we should do an organic video, but due to many requests, we are doing another P blocks carbon family video today, as many students requested for that also, that we should do a carbon family, P blocks carbon families video. So I'm here to teach you that, and I make sure that I'll make sure that next video will be of organic chemistry as you guys requested, as right. So uh, moving forward, you can just write down in the chat. Renuka, I am waiting for your chat even, right? So we can see you and we can. Hi Avinash. Hi Avinash. Okay Avinash. Okay. So telling about myself, as most of the guys already know, I'll tell once more that my name is Khushang. Sir, you won't complete Boron family first. Uh, Actually, I wanted to complete Boron family, but somewhat students requested that you should do carbon family, and this is a, you can say, a free series. So I complete my lectures in our courses, which I take the complete course of JEE, right? So this is only 1 hour video, so we cannot do complete chapters here. That we cannot repeat the chapters again and again. I hope you understand that. So in my course which I teach here, I take the complete JEE course. I have completed many of the chapters there, and many of the chapters will be going live. So if you want complete lectures, I am not doing the same that coaching institutes do. If you are feeling that this he is saying that you should take our free courses, then only I'll teach you, it's not like that. Not even 1%. but there are some rules and regulations that if we take these promo webinars, that is if we take the free lectures on this YouTube, which are going to be listed for everyone, so you should we should try different and different topics, so that most of the students can know us that how do we teach. And the main purpose of this is that you guys know that how do we teach, and I complete the whole chapters in our JEE course. So it is very economical. Even I'll tell you about the course also. You can take that course and you can just complete the whole chapters from that. I'm so sorry if you were expecting that, but yesterday also many students just wrote down that we want to take the you can say we want to study different chapters once, just so that we can know how do you teach. So I'm here for another video of inorganic chemistry, that is we will be doing p blocks carbon family today, and we'll be doing just the same as we did yesterday. We'll be studying some basics and some properties of that, uh, and then I'll be in the next promo webinar, that is in the next YouTube lecture, I'll be teaching you organic chemistry. We'll be starting somewhat from basics, so that you may know how organic chemistry is taught and how do I teach organic chemistry, so that you can judge me, and if you can if you understand what I teach, so you can just take the whole webinars which I create, which the content which I do, and the way how I teach, right? So that is the main purpose, Renika. If uh, uh, are you okay with that? Because I have explained what actually we are doing right now, and what is the main purpose of these lectures. Knowledge from universe. So this name, knowledge from universe, is not the actual name. So if you can write down your complete name and where are you from, then we can interact properly, right? So you can just write down in the chat. Okay, so we'll be moving forward. So first of all, just I wanna give you a brief overview of our courses. That is our main. My what I teach is I prepare the students for JEE, that is JEE Mains and JEE Advanced too. So in that course, how we are going to teach, the main thing is we'll be taking live classes, which is the most important thing. I'll be interacting you like I am interacting with you right now, so I'll be interacting you there, one-to-one interaction. Okay, so your name is Abhiram. Okay, hi Abhiram. Where are you from? And okay. So this is our course which we take live classes. First of all, we use a classroom method known as flipped classroom method. This classroom method is, we researched very well that how we can just get to the students, and how we can make the students understand the topics clearly at once. Hi Shiva, hi Shiva Charan. So you guys can just write where are you from. Okay, you are from Andhra Pradesh. Nice, very nice. So you can just write down where are you from, and I just asked everyone about this, that how is your preparation for your exam. You can just rate it from 1 2 and 3 on the level of 1 2 and 3, that is 1 for the sad face, 2 for the mind face, and 3 is for the happy face. What does that mean? That if you are on a level 1, then you are not just happy with your preparation, or if you are not able to solve questions properly, and if you are not able to solve questions in a set interval of time, which I always tell you that you should set a time interval, and you should just set the number of questions, and you should just try to solve the number of questions in that interval of time. That should be your goal, and you should work daily on that, right? And when your goal is somewhat achieved, that if you are confident that I can solve this amount of questions, for example, you can say 30 questions of chemistry in 1 hour, or yes, uh, which was the basic method of JEE, that 3 hours, and you can say we solved 90 questions, right? So you can just write that if you can solve that much amount of questions in a particular interval of time. Okay, no problem. If you are on a level 2, I am here, so we can jump to the level 3, right? Time is the only problem, sir, right? So this is the main thing. You are going on the right track. Abhi, what was your name? Abhiram, right? So you are understanding that time is the main thing, because if you set a time interval and you should just set the number of questions and you should just try to solve the number of questions in that set interval of time. So if that is the case, and you should just keep on solving daily. If you have set an interval of 1 hour and you have said that I will solve 20 questions, right? And if you are able to solve 15 questions, 10 questions, no need to worry. Next day you should work on that, and when there will be one day, if you do that consistently, then there will be one day when you will be able to solve the number of questions you have set. When your goal will be achieved, then what you have to do, you just have to increase the goal, right? So you just have to increase the goal, you just have to increase the number of questions in that interval of time even. So if you were solving 15 questions in 1 hour, and if you are able to solve 15 questions on regular basis, you know from yourself that I can solve 15 questions in 1 hour. So just increase that to 20, and then try to achieve that goal. And when you will be achieving that goal, increase that to 25. You have to you can just say you have to take out the maximum output from you. Because when you will sit for JEE, when we sat for JEE, when I sat for JEE, this was the main problem which I have covered from mock tests. Will be we I gave a huge amount of mock test, and they just increased my, you can say, the marks, my marks, basically marks. So this is the main thing. When you will increase the number of questions, and when you will sit in J, you will be confident enough that in these 3 hours I have to solve this number of questions. At home I solved more number of questions than this, so I can do that, right? So this is the main concept. Actually solving 20, 30, 40 questions daily, 30 questions is not the complete problem, is not a very tough to do job. Main thing is the daily part, the daily word we use, that if you solve questions daily, it is the main thing. It is difficult, it is very difficult. So if you are able to achieve that, I am sure you will be achieving a decent rank, you will be achieving a decent number of marks, and you will be getting into a decent college, and you will be grabbing placements too. And that is you will get to know how much fun is that when you will get into an into your dream college, and into your top tier 1 colleges like DTU, NSIT, IIT, NIT, right? Okay, okay. So we'll be moving forward, not wasting much of the time. I was telling you about the flipped classroom method. What is the method we actually use? Actually, before taking this class, if for example the class like this, I am taking a class. Before this class, you will be having the study material for the class, which I make myself before the class, and I'll just send it to you guys. So you can just read that material, and when you just have read that material, you will be coming into the class, we'll be discussing those topics. What is the benefit of this? When you read, when you have read those, sir, now you are going to complete carbon family. I'll try to complete that, Renuga, I'll try to complete that. Because there is a time limit on YouTube. If we have set the time limit, then we cannot exceed that time limit. We will just try to complete as much as we can do that, right? So we will try to complete carbon family. And yes, one thing more, if you can ask me, if you were asking me that to complete that boron family thing, one thing is that main thing which comes in JEE is uh, the trends, right? They will ask you about the ionization energies, they will ask you about the size, they'll ask you from the exceptions. So what I taught yesterday was de-shielding, right? So in boron family, most of the, you can say, most of the or just introduction. So we'll be starting with the chapter anyway. So we'll be just starting with the chapter. We'll be starting from basics, and we'll be moving on to the trends. We'll try to cover as much as we can do. So that will be the case, right? So this I was explaining that this was the flipped classroom method. We'll be, when you will read the PDF, when you will read the PDF, you will get to know in the back of your head that yes, this is the thing, this is the topic which is not clear in my head. Hi, Rana. Hi. So when you will just know that this topic is not clear, right? And we will discuss that in class. Your concentration level will increase on that level only, on that topic which you know that this topic was not clear in my head, and that you will be clearing after the class. I'll provide you some questions. There will be a proper test form which will be given to you. There will be a proper set time limit, and you have to solve the questions which I'll be giving you, and you will get the marks of that. You will get where the which is the topics which you are lacking in, and then I'll be providing you with a solution video. We'll be solving the questions together, and I'll tell you about the methods, about the approach of solving the questions, because that is the main thing. When you will know how to solve the questions, what is the approach of solving questions, that will be the main thing, right? So we'll be moving forward, and we'll be not wasting much time, and we'll be moving on to the carbon family, right? I think Renuka got angry that we just didn't complete the boron family and we started carbon family. I'm so sorry for that. We are also bound in some rules and regulations. So if I also wanted to complete the boron family thing, but as this is only a 1 hour promo videos, this is the 1 hour, you can say, the videos which are listed on YouTube. So we have to cover the syllabus. Okay, we are starting. So yesterday I told you about the P block. What is P block? You can just write down what is the, you can say, the general configuration of P block. General configuration of P block elements. I told you what is the general configuration of P block elements. It is ns2, which the two electrons are filled in the s orbital completely, and then the np and 1 to 6. There are 6 different options and 6 different electrons. If you see that there is a p orbital, we have 3 boxes here, and we have to fill 6 electrons. We have 6 options, right? So there can be ns2 and np1, there can be ns2 np2, there can be ns2 np3, right? So and up to ns2 and np6 is the total number of cases and total number of options we can fill the p orbital. So due to these 6 options, we have 6 groups, right? So yesterday we talked about the boron family. Boron family. So you can just, if anyone of you know what is the general configuration of the boron family, it is the 13th group. 13th group of the p block, that is the boron family. What is the general configuration of the boron family? You can just write down in the chat, so I'll be knowing that you are actively participating, right? So what is the general configuration? It is ns2 and np1. All the elements in the boron family are having this general configuration, and I told you the trick to remember boron family as well. We can just write down, what was that? Bangan, aloo, gajar in heli. What was the boron family? Boron, aluminium, gallium, indium, and helium. This was the boron family. This bangan, aloo, gajar in heli. This was a trick to remember that, and this was the general configuration. So if we move on to the second option, what is the second option of filling the electrons? The second option will be ns2 and np2. This will be the next group. So it is the next group. This group is the 14th group. 14th group of p block. So what is this group? This group is carbon, then silicon, then germanium, then Sn, then Pb. I'll also tell you some abbreviation and the trick to remember this. So first of all, this is the case. So when we wrote about the boron family, the boron family was boron, aluminium, gallium, and so on, right? So this group, 13th group, was known as boron family due to the first element in it. So similarly, this group, this 14th group, is known as the carbon family. Carbon family. Right. So again, we'll be writing. First of all, you can just write down in the notebooks. We are starting with the carbon family. General configuration. General configuration is NS2 and NP2. Right, this is the general configuration. What is the carbon family? Carbon, silicon, germanium, Sn, tin, and lead. This is the carbon family. Now the question arises, why we are studying this carbon family? Due to, because yesterday we also discussed that these elements are found in abundance, and we have daily uses of these elements, right? So this carbon exists in two forms. Exists in two forms. That is, it can exist as an element, that is diamond. How can exist? Diamond, graphite, right? And it can exist as a combined form too. Combined form, right? What is that? CO2, hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons. About hydrocarbons, we study in the organic chemistry, that is methane, ethane, these alkanes, and all of the organic chemistry is based on this carbon only. So these exist as gases. They are a combined form of carbon. These are the element form of carbon. One more interesting fact: when you just go and ask to your elder ones, they'll tell you invest on a diamond, because diamond is forever. Diamond is forever. Why do we say that diamond is forever? They'll tell you that a diamond, when you'll purchase a diamond, it will stay diamond throughout. But it is not the case. It is not the case, right? Diamond gets converted into graphite after after a interval of time. But you will say that nor you, nor your parents, nor your grandparents have seen any diamond converted into graphite. Why is that so? Because this process is thousands of years long. Thousands of years. They both are forms of carbon, and this diamond gets converted into graphite after thousands of years. Both of them are forms of carbon also. So there are actually three isotopes of carbon. You whatever I am telling you, just write down in your notebooks, right? So there are three isotopes of carbon. There are three isotopes of carbon. What are the three isotopes? It can exist as, what are isotopes? Once you can tell me in the chat, what is the meaning of isotope? Isotopes are the elements having same atomic number and different atomic masses, right? And what are isobars? The elements having different you can having different atomic numbers and the same atomic masses. So we are talking about isotopes here. So the isotopes are carbon having mass 12, carbon having mass 13, carbon having mass 14. So we have three different isotopes of carbon. And this C14, if you have studied the chapter radioactivity, you know that this C14 is a radioactive element. Radioactive, right? This is radioactive. So why should we study carbon family? First we have C14. Actually we have three isotopes. We have C12 also, C13 also, and C14 also, Irana, right? So this I was telling the importance of carbon. Now the second element is silicon. We are getting just a brief overview of the elements. Why do we need to study? We do not have such a huge waste of time. We cannot waste our time, right? We do not have you can say time to waste, and so we will not study things which are not important in our lives, right? So we study these elements because they have a certain amount of importance in our life. Okay, so the next element is silicon. Telling about silicon, silicon is the second most abundant element. Second most abundant element in the earth's crust, right? Yesterday I told you what is the third most abundant element. You can just write down if you guys know, and if you guys have seen me yesterday, and if you guys took the lecture yesterday, you just know what is the third most abundant element. You can just write down in the chat, but let me complete this, then I'll tell you. The earth's crust, right? And it is 27.7% by mass of the earth's crust, right? What is percent by mass? I have taught you already in the chapter solutions also, and the chapter stoichiometry also, right? What is percent by mass? So if the mass of earth's crust is 100 grams, then then the total silicon present is having a mass of 27.7 grams. So you can't even imagine how much abundant silicon is, right? There the silicon is present in such a huge quantity that if the earth's crust is having a mass of 100 grams, then the silicon's mass is 27 grams, right? And you guys know what is the mass of earth's crust? It is in billions of kilograms, right? So we'll be moving ahead. uh the answer to my question, what is the third most abundant element? Obviously it is from the boron family. You guys, if you guys know, you can just write down in the chat, right? Okay, so we'll be writing some things made up of silicon. But where silicon is used, it is used in glass, making glass. It is used in ceramics, right? So it is used in making glass, it is used in making ceramics, and many things like this. So these are the some uses of silicon. The answer to the problem was aluminium is the third most abundant element in the earth's crust, right? So you can just write down this second most abundant element, silicon. It is present in the 14th group, that is the carbon family. Third most abundant element in the 13th group, that is aluminium, which is in the boron family. Okay, the next use or the next element is germanium. So germanium is not present in such a huge quantity, but it is used with silicon. It is used with silicon in transistors and semiconductors even. Silicon and germanium are used in making transistors, in semiconductors. So much of uses, right? And then comes the next element, that is Pb or lead. This also has a huge amount of uses. What is used? It is used in, it is a very important thing. it was asked in JEE. It is used as anti-knocking. One second, one second. It is used as anti-knocking agent in petrol. So we'll be studying what is anti-knocking in the chapter metallurgy. It is also a very important and interesting thing. So you just note down this, that lead is used as an anti-knocking agent in petrol. This question is already asked in JEE. Right. So uh, and now lead free petrol is used in right now in today's scenario. Lead free petrol is used, right? So uh, so now there is somewhat a short trick which you will be laughing on, but it is a trick and people use it to remember this carbon family. What is the carbon family? We'll be writing it once more: carbon, silicon, germanium, tin, Pb, right? So this is the carbon family. What is the trick to remember that? काशी गए संत, public flogged. I know you will be saying how stupid is this, but it is what it is, and people remember this carbon family by this trick. Kashi gaye sant, public flogged. Right. So what is it? What does it mean? Kashi, carbon, right? Then silicon, then germanium. I think this should come before this. Kashi Sant gaye, right? So it should be Kashi Sant gaye. One second, we'll be writing this for this. Kashi Sant gaye, public flogged. What is Kashi? Kashi is carbon, Sant is silicon, and public is Pb, that is lead, and flogged. Flogged is of no use even. So it is a radioactive element UUT. So you can just remove that. So Kashi gaye Sant, public flogged. Right. So this is used to remember this 14th group. You can make your own abbreviation if you want. If you are not able to remember this, so you can make your own abbreviation and you can just remember that. Okay, so now we'll be writing the electronic configurations of this 14th group. Okay, what was the first 14th group? Kashi Sant gaye, then N, then Pb, right? And last element is actually F, flogged was Fl, that is fluoronium. Oh, this was the correct abbreviation. Kashi Sant gaye, Kashi gaye Sant, public flogged. What does that mean? Kashi is Ca, from C, carbon, silicon, germanium, then Sn, tin, then Pb, that is lead, and flogged is Fl, that is fluoronium. So you guys get that? If yes, you can just write down in the chat. It will give me such a motivation that you guys are watching me continuously and you are following with me, right? You can just write down in the chat if you are getting that. So what are the electronic configurations of the carbon family? Let me just erase this one. Okay, we'll be starting with starting writing the electronic configurations. What is the electronic configuration of carbon? He 2s2 and 2p2. Okay, so yesterday I told you why do we use this noble gas, because in noble gases all the electrons are filled. We don't need to write again and again about 1s2 2s2 2p2, right? So what is the electronic configuration of helium? 1s2. So we just write it. So the next will be, we just write the next noble gas, which will be neon. Then 3s2 and 3p2. Then the next noble gas is argon. The next will be 4. Then the d orbital comes. The d orbital comes, which is a very important thing, and exceptions will be starting from here, right? So it is 3d10, 4s2 and 4p2. Sn. What is the configuration of Sn? The next noble gas is krypton. Then the configuration is 4d10, 5s2 and 5p2. The next is Pb, that is lead. What is the configuration? It is Xe, 4f14, 5d10, 6s2 and 6p2. So this is the configurations of the 14th group. So what is main thing to note down is that d orbital starts from germanium, d orbital, and f orbital starts from lead. It will be solving the problems to the most exceptions that will be coming in the trends. That is the physical properties also and the chemical properties also. Because from here only s and p were going, s and p. Now the d orbital comes, then d orbital and s and p were going, then f orbital comes. So due to this orbitals, exceptions will be there. So if you haven't watched the previous video which I told about the d shielding, the f shielding, I'll be explaining it to you once more, because many of new guys have joined us today. So we'll be explaining the d orbital shielding to them. And this is the case of due to exceptions are there, right? So we'll be starting with the trends in the p block or the carbon family. Trends in the carbon family. What we'll be starting with? We'll be starting with the atomic and ionic radii. First trend. First trend is atomic and ionic radii. So you can just write down in the chat, if we move from top to bottom in a group, the atomic size increases, decreases, remains the same, first increases, then decreases. These are your four options. You can just write down the answer. If we move on from top to bottom, our atomic size or the atomic radii, what happens to the atomic radii, right? So you can just write down. I am waiting for you guys, right? So okay, we'll be writing Kashi, and be erasing this. Kashi, Gai, Sun, Public. Right. So when we move from top to bottom, the atomic and ionic size increases. It increases, right? So there was no exception in this atomic and ionic radii, surprisingly, in p block, right? So in your ncrt there is a table given where all atomic radius of all this carbon family is given. I'll be writing that, and we can, yes, you're right. It increases. Okay, So there is no exception what are the atomic radiuses, but we do not have to just remember these radii because they are not important. They are just given as a proof when scientists measure the atomic radius of all the elements. That data was given, so there was no exception what is the atomic radius of all these elements. One second. I hope you guys are noting down everything, because in organic chemistry it is the main thing. If you have to just make notes, and these notes will be a lifesaver, which I always tell you, right? What is the atomic radius? First is carbon, that is 77, then 118, then 122, then 140, then 146. This is the data, and there is no exception. After each and every element, atomic radius is getting increased. So the next rate, the next trend is going to be the density. Density is the next trend. So then again the question, again a question, when we move from top to bottom, density, what happens to the density of the compounds? First, second, third and fourth is increase, it decrease, it remains the same, or first increase then decrease. What is the case? You can just write down the answer in the chat. What happens to density when we move from top to bottom in a group, right? So I'll be seeing what you guys are thinking of the density, what will be happening. Actually, we can see what the scenario will be when we move from top to bottom. Mass increases, volume increases. What is density? Mass by volume. So what should happen to the density? Should it remain the same or not? Should it increase? Should it decrease? You can just write down in the chat. A, increases. Right option. Right. So mass increase always when we move from top to bottom. Why is that? Why it increases? You have given the right answer. So why it increases? Mass increase is more than that of volume increase when we move from top to bottom, right? So I can also give you the reason why this is so. Mass is increased, but we have seen when I drew the atomic radiuses table, you have just seen what was the atomic radius. They were like 77, then 118, then 122, then 140 and 146. So you see 118, 122, not much of the increase, as they are measured in picometer or angstrom, that is 10 to the power minus 10th scale it is measured. So 118 into 10 to the power minus 10 will be approximately equal to 122 into 10 to the power minus 10. And what is actually the shape of an atom? It is a sphere. What is the volume of sphere? 4 by 3. It is proportional to 4 by 3 and r cube, right? R cube is there. So when radius is increased very minutely, so obviously volume will also increase very minutely. So mass is increased more and volume is increased less. 4 by 3 pi r cube, right? So it is a constant, that's why I didn't wrote that. I didn't want it to confuse you. Okay, so we have seen why volume increase is lesser than that of mass increase when we move from top to bottom of that, right? So I'll be writing and I told you density increases from top to bottom. Let's just you can say, let's just check if in the carbon family the density increases, decreases, or remains the same. Okay, so I'll be writing the densities of the carbon family. C, then Kashi gaye Sant public blog, right? And I always write FF is FL. Okay, what are the densities from the table given in the NCRT? I am telling you, there is no other resource, right? Always in organic chemistry, I'll be just suggesting you to just read the NCRT. No question can come outside the NCRT. I can give a reason to that too. Why it's so? Because in inorganic chemistry, everything is based on facts, right? And we just need a legible and a legit book which is which in which the facts given are, you can say, just sub everyone follows that, you can say, the facts given in that, right? So there is the NCRT only which everyone follows. If there is any fact which is given in some other publications book, for example Pearson or anything like that, and it is not given in the NCRT, it will not come in JEE, because students and even teachers can question that if the fact is legit or not, what is the proof to that fact. But when it is given in NCRT, it is true, it will be followed. The question will come from NCRT only, not outside of the NCRT. So if you read the NCRT completely and thoroughly, you will not be regretting that every inorganic question will be solved. Take my advice, you don't need to go to any other publications books for using NCRT. Yes, you can do questions from the other books. Arihant's and previous year questions are sufficient. You can go for Pearson too. The questions given in Pearson are quite nice. But there are many other publications books, that is Balaji publications. I followed Balaji publications book when I was preparing for JEE for inorganic chemistry, right? So what are that, we were talking about the densities. We are writing the densities. What is the density of carbon? 3.51. Then what is the density of silicon? 2.34. Then of germanium is 5.32. Then that of 7.26. And then that of is 11.34. Now you see that there is an exception. There is an exception here. There is an exception here. What is the exception? Density of carbon is more than that of density of silicon. Why is that so? Why is that so? So let's just you can say measure, and let's just see how density is calculated and why this is happening, right? So if we write carbon's mass is equal to 12.011 units approximately, right? And if we write silicon's mass, it is 28.085 units approximately. Radius 67 picometers. Radius is 111 picometers, right? So if we calculate the volume for the both, it is 4 by 3 pi r cube. When we calculate the volume of carbon, it comes out to be 1.26 into 10 to the power 6 picometer cube. And when we calculate the volume of silicon, it comes out to be 5.73 into 10 to the power 6 picometer cube. You see, when we wrote about the radiuses, the most, you can say, the biggest change came when we jumped from carbon to silicon. Comes from 67 to 111 straight away, then up to 118, then 122. No more big changes. It is approximately a change of twice, right? So that's why the volumes increase will be very huge, and the mass increase, you can say it is approximately twice. Then the volumes increase is of, and it is proportional to radius is cube. So obviously the volumes increase will be much higher than that of mass. So this is the reason why density of carbon is more than that of density of silicon. It is an exception and it is really important, right? So it is really important, and it is an exception to that. Now we are moving on, we are moving to the next trend, that is melting and boiling points. If you have got why the exception was there, right? Okay. Now we'll be moving on to the melting and boiling point. Melting and boiling point. Now again a question is there. Firstly, you have to write down in the chat, if we move from top to bottom, what does happen to melting and boiling point? Does it increase? Does it decrease? It remains the same? First increase, then decrease? What is the case? These are your four options. You can just write down in the chat. You have to write it very fast so that we can move forward, right? Melting and boiling points. We will talk about melting and boiling points. So the question is, when we move from top to bottom, what happens to melting point and boiling points? Fast. You have to just write down in the chat that melting and boiling points increase, decrease, remains the same. What happens to melting and boiling points when we move from top to bottom? We have studied this in periodic table. Fast. Okay. I'll be, if you have studied about the answer to this is Stewart Hooper. Actually, what you have written is out of my scope to understand. What is written this? What is written? VAE dot FYI. Okay, we'll move forward. So the answer to this is melting and boiling point decreases down the group. So when we move down the group, the melting and boiling point decreases. Why? The question again is why. If you know the answer, you can just write down. Okay, so I'll be telling you why the melting and boiling point decreases down the group. Because firstly, the atomic size increases. Okay. One second. One second. Abhiram, what is this emoji? Actually, when we see the emojis from PC, we are not able to see the emoji properly. I'm not able to see the emoji properly. Okay. So, atomic size. Firstly, the atomic size increases. Second, the bond length increases. Third, strength of the bond decreases. So these are the three reasons why the melting and boiling point decreases when we come from top to bottom. Actually, what is melting and boiling point? It is basically the breakage of bonds, the temperature which we provide so that the bonds can break of the atom, right? So if there is a, you can say there is a structure of carbon in which many carbons are attached to it, right? It is formed, there is a form of graphite in which many of the carbons are there, they are linked together, and we just need to melt it down. So we should provide such a amount of temperature to that, we should provide such amount of energy to that, so that all the bonds break and it just melts down, it just converts from solid form to liquid form. So if the bond strength would be strong enough, then the more temperature should be provided to that, more temperature will be required to melt it down, and if the bond strength is weak, then lesser temperature will be required. So when we move from top to bottom, the size increases. If the size increases, obviously the bond length will increase and the strength of the bond will decrease. If the strength of the bond is weak, then we do not require such huge amount of temperatures, we require smaller amount of temperatures to provide smaller energies to provide to it, so that the element melts down, or the element boils up, right? This is the reason when we move from top to bottom, the melting and boiling point decreases. So when we write here, also an exception is there. So when we write the melting and boiling points of the carbon family, we'll be writing the carbon family again. So Kashi gaye Sant public log. So I'll be writing the melting points and the boiling points fastly. Okay. Melting point of carbon 4373. No boiling point is given. Okay. In silicon 1693 and 3550. Then in germanium, what is 1218 and 3123. In tin 505, straight away 505 and 2896. Then in lead 600 and 2024. So I hope you have got the exception of the melting point. Here melting point should have decreased when we move from tin to lead, but the melting point decreases. So the exception here is exception. What is the exception? The melting point of Sn is less than the melting point of Pb. Why is this? Why is this? This is due to the structure. This is due to the structure of Sn. So tin is present in such a structure that its bond strengths and bond lengths are really weaker than that of lead, and lead is present in such a structure that its melting point is more than that of tin. It is the only reason, there is no such exception to this. It is completely factual that they both are present in such structures that the melting point differs and the exception occurs. The main thing is you just need to remember the exception. When the question will come, that you will be given 4 elements, SiGe, then 10, then Pb, and you have to just write down the complete order of melting and boiling points. Then the main question in that would be that you should know the exception of tin and lead. If you knew the exception, you will be taking on to the right answer and you will be getting full marks to that. Okay, so this was it for today. We have studied many things about the carbon family. We have studied many trends of the family. I'm sorry I had to teach more, but there is a certain time limit on YouTube too. So we will have to just end the class here. Before that, I complete all these chapters. I complete all the lectures in our complete courses which we provide, which are really cheap. I am telling you, really cheap. When you will be visiting our website, you will be saying that I can just buy this course from my pocket money even. So this is the, you can say, the course, and this is the classes. I told you we'll be providing you theory, we'll be providing you study materials before the class, then we'll be having a class which will be a webinar, and then we'll provide you homework, and your homework will be checked. You will be getting your number of marks of that. And actually, when we prepare for JEE, we have three types of courses: the light course, the smart course, and the proficient course. So in the light course, okay, bye Viram, bye. So just I was telling you about this. I'll just tell you about this course that will be the smart course, which will be the most efficient from my perspective. Uh, this will be the best course for you, because in this mock test and live doubt solving are there, and one-to-one mentorship too. Everything else is online. I also know, and you also know, right? That everything is online. There is no uh, need to pay for the courses or to pay for the things that are online. We also know that money is really important to you, and it is important to everyone. So we do not want that our students should waste their money. The main thing is one-to-one mentorship, where myself and the other faculties too will be interacting to you guys, uh, taking details from you, taking the details where the are you lacking in. Uh, we'll provide you some materials, and we'll provide you some tips and tricks so that you can work on. And Aviram, which I know you are listening, Aviram. I know. I am seeing here that you were constantly with me, and you were interacting completely, right? So I have noted down your name, right? So what I was telling you was that this smart course is not of very high price. You can just go on to the site. You will be saying that this I can buy from my own pocket money also. And I myself, I have told the team of Altedemy that we should keep the prices very really cheap, so that everyone can get you can say access to each and everything, and they should have the accent, and they should clear JEE with a decent rank, with a decent will be provide will you will be getting your decent, you can say, courses, or the decent branch in your dream college, right? So these things do will not matter when you will be getting into that colleges. You will be saying that it was totally worth it. I am telling you from my experience even, right? So we'll providing you one-to-one mentorship also, live doubt solving also. We have WhatsApp groups, so we can add you in your WhatsApp groups if you want. And you can ask your doubts there. I'll be myself will be clearing your doubts. Then we'll be having mock tests which are really important, and they will increase your number of marks, as I told you, which these mock tests helped me a lot in when I prepared for JEE. Okay, so this was it, guys. This was it for today. So I'll meet you soon in our next lecture. Will be approximately in next week. So till then, you can watch lectures of our other faculties which will be taking on maths and physics. So till then, have a great day. Keep studying, keep solving questions. And Avinam, I told you about how you can solve the question and how you can manage the time. You should set the time limit and solve questions on that, right? So that was it. So see you soon. Bye bye, and love you all.